Hello and welcome to the Pick and Play podcast. I'm Perry Toombs.
And I'm Kelly Reid.
And this will be our first episode that we are ever putting out there.
Ooh.
So, I started this basically because I like talking about anime and TV shows and video games and movies. All things viewable and consumable. Hence the name Pick and Play. Or pick it and play it. Via playing or
Yeah, we
playing.
get it, Perry. It's okay.
Alright, okay. So basically each week we'll be discussing either one of those topics or doing random spin-off things depending on what's happening in our lives maybe. Or just something fun and silly and witty.
Hopefully witty. That's probably debatable.
It should be interesting.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah, so what are we talking about this week?
So this week we are talking about... Oh, I probably shouldn't have slapped my hands. So this week we are talking about two things. We're talking about The Last of Us, which we'll get to later. And we're starting out by talking about Sword Art Online. Ooh.
We'll just point out two things. It's Sword Art Online from Season 1 to halfway through Season 2, because we couldn't be bothered to finish it. And it's also The Last of Us 2, not the first one. As, you know, that's topical at the moment, hopefully. Although this will be a bit late. So Sword Art. Do you wanna summarize the art of swords?
Oh God, Perry.
It's not a thing. It's not a thing.
Okay, Sword Art Online is an isekai
Yes.
anime. See, I've got all this terminology down now. I'm a proper anime pro. It's an isekai story about young Kirito.
Yeah, or Kirigaya if you're going by his real world name.
You know, we've got a lot of names here. Who enters into a virtual video game world, only to then find out that dun dun dun, the only way to wake up from it is to win the game. And then he spends the next 2 years inside this game. Also, this is only the first half of Season 1. God knows what happens in the second half.
I don't know how topical. I don't know how spoilery we'll be getting, but there may be spoilers. So sorry about that.
Yeah, this is a
but if you don't know
spoiler
what Sword
discussion.
Art Online is, and you're an anime watcher, have you been living under a rock? Or you probably have good taste and just haven't bothered to watch it because of all the criticism it's getting. Or gets.
Bother to watch it. Just saying.
All right. So to begin, I've posed some questions for Kelly, and I assume Kelly has posed some questions for me if we've followed the plan. So my first question is, what was your first impression of Sword Art Online?
Okay, I have like two first impressions because a couple of years ago, before I got into anime, I watched probably the first like 7 or 8 episodes of Sword Art Online because it was on Netflix and I was like, sure, let's watch this.
Netflix does make it all very accessible.
I only watch stuff on Netflix. I'm really terrible. So I watched it then and I was bored stiff and I didn't get it at all. And then after starting to get into anime a few months ago, and watching a load of YouTube videos about it and how terrible it was, I was like, sure, let's give it another go.
Yeah.
This sounds like great fun.
Yeah.
And it was like a boat on fire.
This is first impressions.
My first impression.
So the first like 3 episodes. If you watched it, what was going through your mind?
Okay, the first 3 episodes were quite dull. Like, it's very slow.
Oh, when he met like Klein
started.
and stuff, and he was trying to teach him how to use the in-game mechanics, and then the big evil man comes out in the sky.
It's not super exciting to get started, and we've got these huge time jumps that make it difficult to really like connect with the story and the world and the individual characters, really, because like we get their first impression, but then we jump forward like however many months to when it's kind of settled down and everyone's in their place.
That is true. You see none of the interesting part of video games, in my opinion, which is the grinding stage, the developing and learning and actually getting your skill set. And there are also basically no fucking skills. They're all sword things.
Yeah. I mean, I know nothing about video games, so that means nothing to me.
I should point out
but
the intent with this is that I am supposedly someone who should know a considerable amount about anime and video games, because That's all I do. And Kelly is less knowledgeable, however, is getting there. How many anime shows do you think you've watched so far?
Oh God, like 15 maybe? Something like that.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Whereas I think I've seen like 200 ish.
It's like, you know, when you're logging the number of hours you've watched anime on my anime list.
Yeah. Wait, have you made one?
I haven't. No.
Oh.
I have a spreadsheet of my own where I track what I watch because I am a nerd.
Okay. What was your? Hit me with a question. I'm ready.
Okay. What was it like watching it with me versus watching it by yourself for the first time?
Well, the thing is, watching it by myself for the first time, I don't remember the exact year Sword Art came out. It was probably somewhere around 2015-ish, I imagine.
I think it was a little bit earlier.
A little bit earlier?
Yeah.
Okay, my bad.
Maybe 2013.
I'm just stabbing in the dark. I don't remember these things. However, back then, it was one of the first isekais that kind of dropped. So I was like, this is kind of cool. I really like video games. This is all kind of this fantasy idea that I'm sort of down to fucks with. So I thought it was cool.
Uh-huh.
And watching it back with you recently, we were watching it in dubbed.
We did watch it all dubbed. I almost exclusively watched stuff dubbed.
It was a giant cringe fest. I have to say, everything is so much more shit than rose-tinted glasses, very much a thing. But it was fun because I got to see what you thought of it.
Mm-hmm. And I do have to say, I had fun watching it.
Oh, I hate the shitty romance episodes. Ugh.
They were the best bit, man! What are you talking about?
It was not good. But, yeah, I think that's about right.
Okay.
Okay, my next question. What kept you interested in the show? Because clearly you kept watching.
I did.
Why did you keep watching?
I watched like 1.5 seasons, which is quite a few episodes. It's like 35 episodes or something.
Evidently you gave up eventually.
I did. So I kept going in the first season because it was like watching a ship on fire. It was the most bizarre show, and I haven't watched many different anime shows, so I don't have a huge world of context to put it in, but even in what I did know, it was bizarre, because it seemed to just, like, keep changing genre every 3 episodes.
Yeah.
It was really strange. We had, like, a murder mystery one week, then we have, like, slice of life romance, and I was like, what is this?
Do you know what it feels like? It feels like the writer of it was like, hey, games are topical, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get the most basic knowledge of games that I possibly can grasp and then write a normal anime over the top of it.
Yeah.
It
wasn't... So that kept me interested for one thing, and then...
But because it kept being so fucking random.
Yeah, I was like, what's happening next? This is, like, so hilariously terrible. I must keep watching.
Yeah.
And then, spoiler alert, warning for anyone who hasn't seen it, they get out of the video game halfway through the first season.
Yeah.
This is not even, like... So this is meant to be, like, the whole premise of the show, and yet it's done in half a season. And I was like, what the fuck happens in the second half of the season, then?
Yeah, that was where I lost pretty much most of my interest in the show.
Yeah, it's completely different, and it's really bizarre, and I just had to see what kept coming.
That's what she said. Alright. What
okay.
next? Hit me with your best question.
Okay, so I haven't watched really any other isekai shows. So my question for you is, how does this compare to other isekai?
Oh, okay, good, because I wasn't prepared for any question like that. I thought you were going to say, what isekai would you say is actually way better? And there are loads I've watched, and there were too many to list and think about all in one go. So, generally, it's one of the worst ones. Absolutely, there are so many more witty and clever takes. Although, I don't know, there are others on video games, like Log Horizon, which is a way more thorough, in-depth way of looking at video games and being in a video game as someone who's like, I'm a gamer in real life and was transported to the anime realm. Like in fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! Or some shit.
Yes.
So I would say it's bad. It's just really bad. It's cringe. They don't really know what they're doing. However, it was one of the one of the most recent isekai animes. Other than what keeps being listed that I find online is Spirited Away, which I guess it is, but it's not an anime series.
It's not.
So it's it's literally the most recent one to rejig the isekai idea, in my opinion. So I think it's really cool that it did that for the genre, but it sucks.
Just on that note, that is so hard to like imagine that Spirited Away and Sword Art are online and like the same genre. They're just so different in so many respects.
Do you know, I can't remember the chick's name in Spirited Away. Imagine if she's just slowly building up a harem with like No Face and Haku and
oh my god,
the big nose witchy lady. And she
Spirited Away is a harem anime. That's so bizarre. Okay.
All right. So my final question for you, what do you think of the concept of isekai in general?
Oh.
The idea of being transported to another world. Do you think it works well for this kind of medium?
I mean, yeah, I think it works great in anime.
I need to wear my glasses like my little anime character that I drew. And now I'm going to take them off at the risk that there's glare, because I didn't check that.
Okay, so I think that isekai sounds like a really interesting genre. It seems to work really well to me for anime, because you're just transported to another world, and what better way than to create another world than in animation? You know, there is. I read a lot about this because I watch a lot of Disney musicals, but there is this whole feeling when it comes to animation about.
Sorry, just saw some saliva fly out your mouth, but carry on.
Thanks, Perry. No one would have needed to know.
If you saw it.
But there is this whole thing about when you're in animation, there's this automatic suspension of disbelief that you don't get in live action stuff. And I think that goes for any sort of animation, including anime, and that really lends itself to an isekai, because you're creating a whole different world.
Yes.
A whole new world.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It seems to be very common for them all to be sort of fantasy based at the moment.
But I do hear, and I do just hear this because I've not watched any other isekai, but that this has become incredibly popular and overdone genre recently.
Yes, absolutely.
Since the popularity of Sword Art Online. Yeah. So,
but sometimes you get ones that come along that put a little bit of a spin on it that make it more interesting than the crap you've already seen. Yeah. But for the most part, they are quite similar.
Yeah. I'd still be really interested in watching more though that are like better than Sword Art Online.
Well, we'll have to do that. We'll do it. Yeah. I'll go through my list and see which one I think you may like the most.
So,
did you have was that your? Did I have any more questions? Or my?
No, they were your questions.
All right, I'm done.
Okay. Yeah. On to likes and dislikes.
Yes. What did we think was shit about the show?
This is exciting.
Do you know, this for me was quite funny to write comparatively to our next topic, The Last of Us 2, because there's so many more dislikes in my head than likes. Oh, okay. I already mentioned this before, so briefly I'm just going to quickly go over it. It was one of the first isekais I ever watched, so it was a trendsetter, and it was interesting for me to go back my first time. Yeah. But I already said that, so I don't want to stick out.
No. Okay, that makes sense. Something I really liked in it, and that actually was the exact reason that I went to watch it after watching all these terrible reviews of it, was it mentioned that there is a solid relationship that remains throughout the series.
That is true.
So it's Kirito and Asuna that get together and then they stay together. Like, what is this? Like, in context, most of the other animes I've watched so far before this were shonen animes. And they were mostly where, like, a girl is falling over the guy is completely oblivious, this continues for 200 episodes.
Yeah.
It's pretty annoying.
I will point out to you, though, it did make it all the more irritating for you when you saw that he was constantly being fawned over by other people, even though he was supposed to be in a monogamous relationship. Is that the right word? Yeah. I think it was.
This goes on to dislikes. It's a freaking harem anime, guys. I don't like it. It's just ridiculous. You know, even his, like, sister/cousin is head over heels for him. We'll get more into that later. But
that's how we do.
That's so weird. That's just so fucked up, guys. Like, really, that wouldn't be played on the BBC. No. I know that's a weird standard to set, but, like, this would not be played on BBC.
No, I can't imagine it would be, to be honest.
No.
I like, though, that I have for the show, or at least did to begin with, because it didn't last all that long, but then they kind of put... It was a life or death scenario, and I found that was the only thing that kept me interested. I was like, ooh, are they going to die? How are they going to get out of this? Yes. And then, well, as she said earlier, they get out of it halfway through the season. Yeah. So then I was like, so how are they going to keep you enticed? They kidnap Asuna in the second half.
Spoiler alert, guys.
Yeah. And then they keep bringing back the death idea. Yeah. Not only...
They just repeat it in, like, less effective ways again and
not
again
only
and
in
again.
Gungale.
Yeah.
But they do the same shit again in, what was it called? Fuck, I don't... Alicization? Yeah. Alicization.
Okay, we need to talk about Gungale for a minute, right?
Okay.
We need to discuss this because... Okay, Gungale is the first arc of season 2.
Yeah.
And they got their shit together, right?
Oh, did you like the lovely butt shots with the little vagina bit that they always draw in?
No. No, I did not. But they got their shit together. It stopped switching genre every 3 episodes.
That's true.
It had a consistent arc. It had consistent characters. It made a lot more sense. It was a lot less interesting because of all of those things as well. But it did make more sense.
Yeah, that's true. It did follow a much more consistent storyline instead of going whoop 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 like the first bit did. How I have two sort of gripes with it still.
Yeah.
Okay, number one is something we both kind of found hilarious, which was the dubbed voice for Kirito.
Oh.
I should point out, right, that I always watch my shows in subtitles. However, we find it's easier sometimes just to watch it dubbed because you can do other things whilst watching it, e.g. eat food, whatever. Makes sense, it's just more accessible. Yeah. But the dubbed version, when he goes in the game, he starts putting on a female voice. And I realised they don't do that at all in the subbed version. He maintains his same voice, so he's just mistaken for a girl. But in the English dubbed version, he's fully pretending to be a girl with a girl's voice.
And this is, like, I was thinking about this earlier. This makes no logical sense. Like, he enters into this game, he doesn't know that his character looks very effeminate. And yet he immediately starts talking with a feminine voice.
Are you sure we aren't monologuing his head at that point?
No, because he immediately gets confronted by another player who comes up to him.
That's true.
And he starts talking with this really much more girly voice.
Sell me your avatar.
And it's so bad. It's so hard to listen to. We genuinely nearly gave up just because of that.
Well, you did. Yeah. I found it hilarious. Yeah. If anything, it made it way more interesting.
Oh, it was terrible.
But my second gripe with Gungale, the gameplay side of things is fucking stupid as well. Okay, if anyone's played a first-person shooter, you know how it works. You aim down your barrel or whatever it is, you judge the bullet drop off, you shoot. Why, when this chick has her scope out, is there like a fucking aimbot thing that is pulsating? It's just a way for it to be small, otherwise you'll just shoot. I was...
Like the
it
gamer
makes me
in you.
So angry.
The gamer in you was so insulted.
I was so insulted. I'm just like, this isn't how... Look, we've had... what's the Warzone in Modern Warfare at the moment? It's basically the equivalent of what they were doing. Doesn't work like that at all.
No.
It's so fucking stupid.
Sorry. On the same topic of in Gungale, though, I have to say, like... I've completely lost my train of thought.
Oh, I can chuck something in there. I was gonna shove in one more like, because this is my final like.
Okay, go for it.
I don't like anything else, apparently. I thought the artwork was pretty. And some of the animation is nice. The background drawings and stuff. You can't deny, right? In the like sword art especially, and in the Elfheim online, the artwork in the background, it just, you're in this mythical landscape, and it's all rather nice. And I really did appreciate that.
Yes, well, that's what I was gonna say. Okay, I hated, on the same topic as hating the harms in it, right? This continued into season 2. The girl he meets in this new game starts like falling head over heels for him, and then okay, massive spoiler alert, but it turns out that the guy that she is friends with is actually a psychopath. I was so disappointed. I was like, he looked like a normal person. They should have been friends. They should have been a girl who was interested in someone but Kirito. Please. Please.
As soon as I saw that shitty haircut, I knew he was insane.
Oh, okay. And this leads on to more dislikes. The sexualization of teenage girls, right? I'm new to anime.
Yeah.
I realise this.
Right. A lot of anime is set in high school.
It is. But also,
anyone
his
seen
like
High School of the Dead?
14-year-old...
You know what's up.
His 14-year-old little sister getting like bath shots and getting changed shots. It's really weird.
Oh, she's jumping into bed with just her panties and a big jumper on.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, kitty Gaia.
Yeah. It's really, like, again, it wouldn't pass, like, British broadcasting standards. It wouldn't. It's just, like, I know it's probably, in a way, a cultural thing around anime, that this is just, like, a thing that is pretty standard. Sexualization of really young women.
I'm not gonna delve into this too deep, right? Because I don't want to go there.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of political. But we did look up the age of consent for Japan because we were curious.
What was it?
I think it was 13. And I'm just gonna put that out there. I'm not gonna comment anymore. Okay. That's all. Enjoy that fact. That's fun.
And this again leads on to the freaking rape scene.
Was there a rape scene?
The end of season 1. Asuna gets like...
Oh, which he's all tied up.
Yeah.
And the elfie dude's all like, I'm gonna rape her in front of you, Kirito.
Like, what was that? Like, again, we completely changed genre for one thing. It's turned into like a freaking horror film. You know? Oh.
I'd say thriller.
And equally, it was just handled terribly. You know when a rape scene is all about the guy who stood watching it, that it's a really terribly handled rape scene.
It could be about the guy doing it.
It wasn't about that either.
But yeah, no, her rapiness just pretty much served to encourage him.
It did.
Which, granted, I can see why it would, but really they just do it as an excuse for him to be like, I'm gonna go angry mode.
Yeah, and an excuse to show her pretty much naked.
Oh yes, that's also true.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the plot.
Yeah.
We actually covered all of my other dislikes in what we've spoken about. I just had the females only serve to join Kirito's harem, which is true.
Is this true?
They're okay. They're sort of competent at the gaming bits, but other than that, they're just there to fawn over him, as you said.
Yeah, that was really disappointing.
Which is a word I don't really ever use until you spat it out your mouth a second ago.
That was kind of disappointing.
Fawn over. I like it.
That, like, Asuna, she was really kick-ass in the first half of season 1.
Yeah.
When she was in Sword Art Online. She was awesome, right? She saved Kirito so many times. She was a great protagonist. It was awesome. And then she just sort of stops doing stuff. Like, we barely see her in season 2. Second half of season 1 is all about saving her from being kidnapped. Like, I want more Asuna. She was pretty cool, and she was very badass in the games.
I haven't actually seen it, the end of it, of the War of the Underworld, in the second season of Alicization, but she does go into a game to save Kirito. However, I haven't seen her do that yet because I got bored.
You say this, and now I'm like, maybe I need to keep watching Sword Art Online. I'm so easily persuaded.
I will say, the start of Alicization I thought was really cool. I generally, it pulled me back into the whole thing because I'd stopped watching this for like fucking years.
So what's Alicization? Season 3? Season 4?
I guess 3.
Okay.
I think. Don't quote me on that.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
But it begs the question like, oh, how smart is AI until it becomes like human, and how can we make something? And then he gets chucked into this world of all these AI characters, like the little bot dudes that normally talk to you to get quests from or whatever, and they repeat the same thing.
Right.
But instead, they're all have the capacity to be real humans, but they're all inside a machine.
Wow.
And they make up this entire country. So you're like, do I care for them?
Wow. Okay, that's a bit bizarre.
It's a bit more interesting.
Okay.
Oh,
so they're all now like his daughter.
Huh?
The tiny daughter that
Oh
they
no.
collect along the way.
Okay, it's only Kirito.
Such a
Kirito.
freaking
It's only
weird
Kirito
show.
in there at first.
Okay.
Them lot. They. I don't want. If you watch it, I don't want to say too much.
Okay.
You can check it out if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
However, the second half of season 2, maybe you just avoid that. Shall we go on to the final assessment?
Yes.
Okay. So, firstly, would I recommend Sword Art to anyone out there? At this point in time, honestly, no. When I first ever saw it, yes, I would. I would have. I think I did. But at this point in time, there are so many better isekais out there that I think there's no point in watching Sword Art. It's just no.
Okay, that's fair.
I wouldn't recommend it.
So what would you give it then out of 5?
Oh yes. At this point, I might as well explain our rating system, which goes from shit,
Yeah.
or crap. I don't know what you want to call
That's
it.
one of them.
To meh, to good, to great, to loved it. So we're gonna both rate it out of 5 and then give it a collective score out of 10.
Mm-hmm. What do you give it?
Sword Art. Now. Oh, what was it? Shit, meh, or good? Oh, meh.
Meh?
Yeah.
So a 2?
2.
2 out of 5.
2.
That is fair. Okay.
I've changed.
Yeah.
I would have given this like a, I don't know, at least a 3 or 4 before.
Yeah, you
but
probably
2.
would have. Yeah. Okay. For me, I would recommend it.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Because it's terrible in a way that's really hilarious to watch. Like, I was genuinely entertained by the ridiculousness of this show.
Yeah.
And how serious it took itself.
Yeah.
It was great. So, I would recommend, if you're looking for a piece of shit to watch, this has got you covered.
Or you could just go to the toilet and stare in there afterwards.
Well, that's less entertaining.
Still a piece of shit.
But I'd also give it a 2 out of 5.
Also a 2 out of 5.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
so
pretty terrible.
sort of like watching The Room. You watch it because it's really bad.
Yeah.
But you haven't seen The Room, have you?
No.
No, she hasn't. Uncultured swine. Okay, so the next topic we have up is The Last of Us 2.
Mm-hmm.
We've jumped onto the video game side of the episode.
This is where I know much less.
Okay, yeah, there were... Alright, I'll just point out from the start here, okay. There was the intention to get Kelly to play the game before this recording, but I sort of uninstalled it because I forgot to do that.
Yeah.
And
it.
yeah, so she's only seen me play it. I mean, you've also seen all the first one too, so she knows the story and what's going on and stuff. But
context.
in terms of the gameplay side of things, not so much.
I know nothing.
Yeah,
But I know nothing about video games in general, so that's fine.
yeah. But oops, accidents happen. And I did play it through words. I did this because I played it through in the normal difficulty, and then I played it through again in hard, and I was like, well, I don't need this anymore. Well, so I got rid of it, and yeah.
Okay. Do you want to give us a summary?
Oh, a summary of The Last of Us 2. I did not think this through at all. The Last of Us 2 is basically a post-apocalyptic game with zombies, but they're infected by mushroom spores. Those same ones, or based off the same ones that infect ants. And
that makes it sound cute, and it's not.
It's not cute. They're horrific zombie dudes. In the second game, if you played the first one, you'll know who the characters are, but we're following Ellie on a revenge trip because, well, Joel died, guys. Joel's dead. Sorry. So, rest in peace, Joel. And to anyone who's butthurt out there about that, get over yourselves. I'm just saying. It's annoying! This thing has like a 51 or 2% rating, like rating on Google reviews. And I'm like, 48% of people hated this. Yeah. I'm like, it seems unfair.
But there were reasons, you know.
Stupid
and we
reasons.
have discussed the reasons.
We have.
And we'll
get to it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I have some questions posed to you,
Okay.
even though you know next to not much about this. So, if you could give, I think this is a reasonable question. If you could give a favourite character that you had in the series, who would it be?
Oh, it's Ellie.
Really? I did not think she'd say that.
Okay, it's either Ellie or it's Ellie's girlfriend.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought you'd say.
So, okay, discuss. We'll continue with spoilers because it's gonna have to be spoiled.
Yeah.
Um.
Soz.
So, I really like Ellie. I loved her in the first one. I like her in the second one. Up until she decides to leave her girlfriend and her adorable baby and continue hunting Abby. I think she made the worst fucking decision of her life. Do not agree. It makes me like her less, but her girlfriend is adorable.
But this is the thing I think we have to establish with this game, is that it's not a pleasant story.
No.
It is an awfully uncomfortable and a story of revenge and hate and mistakes.
I mean, so was the first one, in a lot of ways.
Yeah, that's true. That didn't end well.
No.
Everyone was okay with that.
No.
Butthurt. Just everyone. Just butthurt. I'm sorry. It annoys me.
At least both of the characters were alive at the end of the first one.
Ooh, throwing shade.
Ooh.
Alright.
So I understand why people were upset that Joel was dead, because I was very upset that Joel died too.
I mean, fuck, don't get me wrong. When I played it through, bruh, big bruh feelings.
Yeah.
It was, that scene is brutal.
So was this better or worse than the first game for you?
Ooh, I personally think it was a massive upgrade.
Really?
Yes. In terms of scale, the environments, new things you could do, all new enemy variety types. It gave a much more thorough story. Obviously, the graphics were an improvement. Unfortunately, I couldn't play it on 4K with HDR, or is that the right word?
You say numbers and letters, and I pretend I know what you mean.
Yeah, I couldn't play in 4K on high dynamic range because I don't have a PlayStation Pro, nor do I have a 4K TV that's HDR compatible. So unfortunately, I didn't get all the sick graphics that people out there would love to be, which I would love to be getting. So I played some of Red Dead 2 with those settings, and oh my god, the light rays, they're so good. So unfortunately,
you're just having an orgasm over light rays here.
Yeah,
Sorry, guys.
It's incredible.
We're having a moment.
But generally a boost up. In terms of story, I also think it's absolutely a fine continuation from the story. So it doesn't get any marks cut down there from me. So I think it is sheerly an improvement.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think I preferred the first one. I know I didn't see the whole of the second one, so I'm incredibly biased here.
Okay, why?
Because that was almost the origin story.
And
who doesn't love an origin story, guys? You know, we got to see Ellie and Joel as their relationship formed, as they tried to survive together, you know, and then got to see them journey across the country.
But she can swim now. Whereas before you had to push her around on wooden pallets.
You see, I give, because I know nothing about gaming and I didn't play this game, the only thing I care about is the story and the characters.
Yeah,
I give zero shits about gameplay. And so you tell me shit like that.
One flaw I just thought of, but I didn't include, so I'll mention it now. Your team comrades, people who are with you and fighting the zombies or whatever, I just realised now that they are still as stupid as they were in the first game. Because you'd be hiding behind a barrier, nice and perfectly, stealthing around, making sure no one's seeing you, and they're just running out in the open whoop, 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 whoop.
It's
and
fine.
you have
no
to pretend that all of the AI enemies are just I don't see anything. I thought they would have fixed that, but they didn't. I suppose it's hard to program that. I don't know.
I imagine that is very difficult. Yeah.
I don't program things, so I only criticise.
I still appreciate the brick throwing capabilities. Bricks, the ultimate move.
Throwing the bricks.
Yeah. Okay.
Question for you. Did the game seem scary enough for you to warrant it being in the horror game genre?
Oh, okay, so no.
No. Interesting.
Okay, I didn't see a lot of it, but I found the first one much scarier. In the first one, I found the zombies, I found these weirdly infected spore things genuinely scary and creepy. It left me tense and on the edge of my seat to try and go through it, watch you go through it, and that kind of makes me want to go back and play that first one because I'm like, oh, that looks kind of cool in a weird, scary way. But I didn't feel that way at all when I watched you play the second one.
Okay. I thought you were going to say otherwise.
Really?
Yeah, I thought you would say it was still kind of scary.
Oh.
But that's interesting, because I didn't find it scary at all either.
Yeah.
I just got chucked into it and was like, smashy, smashy zombies.
Yeah.
Like, I can't wait to hit you, as you said, hit you in the head with this brick.
Yes.
I
guess somewhat.
There was one scary part, though.
Mm-hmm.
The big, mushed together boss zombie dude, when he's chasing you at that one point. Oh, literally, I could feel my, like, butthole getting tighter as I was, like, jumping over things and you know, something's, like, behind you. However, they always do this in games. You know when you're, like, a mile away from something, and then you go through, like, a little gap, and all of a sudden there's a cutscene, it's like, gotcha, bitch!
Yeah.
And I'm like, how did you just teleport across?
Yes,
like,
they
what
did.
happened? Like, the timing there wasn't perfect, but I imagine it's to give people time to react to the obstacles and stuff. This guy didn't need it.
Yeah. I was gonna say
Too many skills out here.
Yeah. On the horror front, some of it I wonder if it's because it's a known enemy. You know, we already know the extent to which these zombies exist, with the exception of the big thing that chased after you.
Well, they did throw in two new enemy types as well.
Okay.
But I'll get onto that.
But we kind of like, we know the scene, guys. Like, we know how they attack, we know how they roam, we know where they are attracted to people, you know. And equally, they're not the main enemy in this story.
No.
You know?
No, they're just like an obstacle.
Yeah. In the first story, they were the main enemy. And so that creates a very different dynamic. Because we're not intended to find them scary.
Very true. That's a good point.
And it almost changes the genre of the game. You know.
But, okay, one thing I'm just going to throw in there, because I think it's a really important point to add. You didn't actually play it yourself.
No.
This is why I wish I didn't delete the damn game. If I just wanted you to try and fight off some zombies and see how you fared doing it. Because I think you'd freak the crap out.
I would freak the crap out.
I think it's a whole different ball game when you're the guy behind the controller.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's why I'd kind of like to play the first one and then play it on super easy. Yeah. And just, I feel like...
Well, yeah,
my
I'll have to
skills
put it on
are
easy.
slowly increased enough that I could maybe get through the game now if it were on easy. Like, I think I could... It would take me a really long time, but I think I could do it.
You would have a bad time.
Yeah.
She can't aim for shit.
I can't aim for shit, guys. It's not good.
Oh, yeah, okay. You got another question for me?
Oh, I do. What did you think of spending so much time as Abby?
Oh, well, okay. So...
I'm stirring things up, guys.
So as I said before, I played the game through twice. Once on normal and once on hard. I played it on hard mainly because I thought the difficulty on normal was too easy. I have abundant resources. I could just mow everyone down. There was no problem. Second reason, when the game randomly teleported me into Abby's shoes, I didn't realise it wasn't temporary. So because I hated her and wanted her dead because she was an enemy to me at this point, I ran through the entirety of day one as her and was just like, why isn't this ended yet? Not realising that I had 2 more full days to go through. So initially, I really didn't like Abby because I was just like, we're Ellie team.
Yeah.
We just gonna kill this chick and be done with it.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were gonna not give you that sort of kind of generic satisfaction that video games would give you, in that, like, here's your objective, do the objective, you've done the objective, good game. Instead, they're like, here's the objective, do this, misery, 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 death.
Yeah, they attempt to tell a more realistic story, and in doing so, they sort of undermine a lot of what video games are meant to give you, or what we assume video games are meant to give you.
I personally think it was very cool and almost brave of the company for taking that route, though. So I have a lot of respect for them for doing that and not going down the generic route people would expect. Also, another reason why I think people are butthurt about the game. Get over yourselves. I'm sorry, I'm so mad. I can't.
Chill out, man. It's
so
okay.
mad at that.
It's okay.
Oh, but to follow up from your question, I think I like Abby almost more now in the second game than I do Ellie in the second game. And I know a lot of people are going to be very angry about that. However, she frankly started off on the same trajectory as Ellie, but then got better as a person. She improved. Ellie just goes downhill. Her moral, no.
She makes a lot of wrong choices in this game.
Everyone's like, but Joel! I'm like, Joel was a prick.
Yeah, Joel's dead, guys.
And he was a dickhead to everyone. He started to get better,
Mm-hmm.
but everyone... I've also seen a lot of people say this. They're like, oh, why is Joel so soft and, like, she's not even, like, first in, like, survival now. I don't understand. It's because he's improving as a person. His moral compass was getting better.
Yeah.
He started off as a right fuckwit.
Yeah.
Then he started improving and getting his, like, dad vibes back when he met Ellie and stuff.
Yeah.
But he was still a dickhead, and obviously he did so much wrong, which is why I can't blame Abby for what she did. You can't, really.
Not really. He did, like... Okay, at the end of the first game, you know, he made a choice. There was no making a right choice in that situation. But equally, you know, Abby is very well vindicated in her decision as well. To, like, you fucking killed my friends, my family. You know, this entire organisation that gave hope for our whole future. You know,
the doctor he killed was her dad. Just throwing that out there.
Exactly. You know, she had every right, and Joel made mistakes.
Yeah. So it's like in Ellie's equivalent, she killed Ellie's sort of dad figure. That was the equivalent of it. We've just been with them. That's why we care a bit more.
Yeah, exactly.
However, in reverse things, he not only killed her dad, but he also maybe doomed the human race.
He did.
So, Joel, you made the bad choice, I think, mate. Soz.
But we can't say that because we love Ellie.
I know. Look. I'm not saying right now that at the end when they have that cute cutscene between Joel and Ellie and they're like forgiving each other, I cried. Okay, because it was so beautiful and I loved it and it was perfect. So, I talk a big game, but really, obviously, I love the characters too.
Do you have another question for me?
Another question.
Oh no. What's this?
There's no point in posing this question anymore. And I can't believe I brought this up before I even got to it. I wrote this down in a jokey manner because I thought it would be funny. I wrote, were you as butthurt about the character deaths as everyone else seems to be?
It was sad.
Yeah.
It was sad.
It was sad.
No,
but
it progressed the story.
You didn't ruin the game for you, though.
No.
Yeah.
Because I knew going in that the second one was going to be the story of Ellie, not the story of Joel, which was the first one. So I didn't have expectations that Joel was going to be a huge character in it.
Yeah. All right. Are you done? Are we done with the?
Yeah.
All right. Question segment. Finn. Likes. All right. My first like. I've already said this a little bit already, but it's sheerly throwing compliments to the Naughty Dog for the visuals of the game, the sound design, all of the parts of the game that you look at and can experience as a player. Amazingly gorgeous. You know what? It makes me feel very conflicted when I go back and play older games, because now I'm playing them and I'm like, these games look garbage. And it's not that they're garbage. Obviously, at the time, they were incredible. But the improvement curve has gone up so much that every older game sort of doesn't meet that standard anymore. So, yeah. All right.
That makes sense.
Gotta give them props.
I don't give two shits about that, but it does make sense. Okay, things I liked. I liked that we got to spend more time with Ellie. I really like Ellie. I feel like we didn't get to spend enough time as her in the first game.
She was also a kid. Her personality and stuff hadn't developed all that much at that point.
But I like spending time with Ellie.
Yeah. No, I agree. Moving on to another point that I have in here, in my likes about Ellie and her character, and also about other characters in general. The amount of representation that you're given in the game, I think it's sort of groundbreaking. If I can say that.
Yeah.
No video game, to my knowledge, has included a transgendered person and just been like, this is fine. Yeah. I don't think that's happened before. Then you have gay people. You also have disabled people. You also have various different ethnic minorities that aren't just the tacked on black guy because the game company doesn't want to seem racist. So I think they are really doing bits in that regard, and I have a lot of respect for them for that.
Yeah, I have to say, I didn't know anything about The Last of Us 2 coming out until like the day before it came out, and I saw a BBC News article about it, and I read it, and it was essentially about how it was like improving diversity in games, and I was like, oh, that made me interested in seeing what it was about.
Yeah.
And looking into it, having not thought about it at all. And that was really, really good.
Yeah, they also apparently have gotten a lot of acclaim for their accessibility.
Yes, that was what I was reading too.
Yeah, but I haven't looked into that much, and obviously I didn't fuck around with the "Are you deaf or blind" settings because they don't. No, I'm not.
No.
So I was like, I'm not going to check these out. Mm-hmm. So I haven't actually seen any of that myself, but I hear good things.
Yes, same.
Yeah.
That was one of my likes too, but my other one is Ellie's relationship. Oh, it's so cute, her and her girlfriend, and when they have the baby, and they live on the farm. It's adorable, guys, and I love it, and I want more of it.
Yes, Ellie and her have the baby together by rubbing vaginas like the cloaca of birds.
Beautiful.
It's like, why do you know that fact about birds? I don't know. Mm-hmm. Leave me alone. Mm-hmm. I also really that was very wholesome. And I think that they obviously did that intentionally because then it was that much more of a big thing for her to give up.
It was, and that was a terrible, terrible decision.
It was
an awful
with
her girlfriend and the baby.
That was one thing I realized later on as well.
Mm-hmm.
If Ellie didn't leave, Abby would have died on the cross plinth thing.
True.
Plinth is right, maybe. And she would have stayed with her partner, whose name I just don't remember. I'm sorry. But yeah, I guess they would have been happy. I mean, she would have had to try and get over her PTSD stuff. But other than that,
but they were dealing with it, guys. They were dealing with it. Oh, it makes me sad. Okay, give me another point.
My final because I sort of covered the other point really. I like the new enemy types that they threw in there. I thought they really added to the game because the just having bloaters, the regular zombie, like partially just newly infected ones, and the clickers, it wasn't a diverse enough array to keep a game at least that long that interesting. So I love the stalkers because you can't use your little like hearing ability to see where they are. So you have to use your sight and try to sort of outwit these guys. And the way they all gank you as soon as you start getting to a fight, I thought that was really interesting. I really enjoyed that. I really like the Shamblers. I thought that was an interesting because they keeps you on the move. As soon as you're spotted, they spew out this big freaking acid ball of gas in the air, and you have to try and run away from it and stuff. So I thought that spiced up the gameplay enough. Oh, and lastly, the addition of the dogs that smell you out and like slowly will catch up with you. So that forces you to move. Because I did also find still, as with the first one, I didn't feel all much need to move around the map as I was fighting the enemies. They give you this huge area to be like, hey, kill them how you will.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I like this one barrier that I found, so I'm just going to sit here and
wait.
Yeah, unless I'm stealth killing them all, I'm just going to sit here and shoot them all on the head as they approach me.
Yeah.
I don't really see much point in moving.
No.
As long as you can aim, no need. So yeah, I really enjoyed the new addition of enemy types. I thought they were cool.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that sounds really good. Do you have a dislike?
I have a couple apparently. Oh,
hit me.
Yeah. Oh, okay. This was my main gripe.
Okay.
I think. So the lack of information that the game gives you as a player makes it sort of confusing. And I know people are out there like, oh, you don't need the game holding your hand and come on, press this X now to go this way or whatever. No, I don't want a game that does that. But at the same time, I need enough information so that I know what the fuck the deal is. So, firstly, obviously I said it earlier, I didn't know that I transitioned over to Abby at a point in the game. I found that really irritating.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know I was going to play a whole half of a game as a completely different character. It gave you no warning that was going to be the case.
Especially when you played as her before, which you had done. It had only been really brief
segments. Exactly. So I was like, it might just be brief again. We're just going to get a gist of her. But it wasn't at all, and they did not signify at all to you that was going to be the case.
No.
Stinky, no likey. Second part where I found that was annoying is when you enter Seattle Day 1 for the first time as Ellie and her partner. I just don't remember her name, which is weird because I remember pretty much everyone else's names. When you rock up into Seattle Day 1 and you're introduced into that semi-open world area where you can explore all these buildings. There's some people in some of them and some not in others, and I'm like, this is epic. Like, compared to the first game where it's super linear, like, that is the way you go. Yeah. There's no confusing it. Because you can now explore, like, entire buildings and stuff. Like the bank section where you find all the zombies inside and break in and get the shotgun. Very cool, very nice. However, I initially was like, so this is how the rest of the game's going to be. I'm going to be thrown into open world sections each time and go through them. Never happens again.
Okay.
You have sort of walking scenes where you go from area to area and you can scour buildings on the way, but there's never again, as far as I can remember, a whole semi-open world section where you can just run around and explore. And that I found annoying as well because it just threw my expectations completely off guard.
That makes sense.
That pissed me off.
That makes sense. I don't really have much in the way of dislikes.
Nothing.
Again, like, the jumping to Abby was not so interesting for me to watch, but other than that, and, like, Ellie leaving her girlfriend, terrible, terrible decision. I hated it. But other than that...
did you know the actress who's been playing, who played Abby, because obviously this is all done in mocap, the actress who did her, or played her, sorry, didn't do her, she didn't fuck her animated self, she's been getting several just crazy death threats from everywhere all over the internet.
What?
People be that salty.
Oh, that's so bad.
That's that salty that they feel the need to go out of their way to send the actress who played her death threats. First of all, you guys realise she didn't write her lines, nor decide her role, or the story direction. She simply acted, which I think she did a fantastic job in, by the way. No reason to send any hate her way. If you're one of those people, you can go fuck yourselves.
This is when people get too attached to fictional worlds.
Yeah.
And fictional characters, don't take it out on the actors, guys. It's not cool.
It's sort of like with celebrities, or even YouTubers in some cases. They're real people.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is why people... It's all fun and games when you're hiding behind your screen on the other side and typing on the other side of the internet.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was a side point. I don't want to...
Yeah.
I'm not going to get too heated.
Okay. Next point, Barry.
That's all I had.
Okay.
Everything else I liked about the game.
Do you recommend it, then?
I 100% recommend this game.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the top games out at the moment. It's a big boy contender. Replayability, not incredible, because obviously on a second playthrough you get because I didn't get all the upgrades and gun parts upgrades or whatever my first playthrough, but I did in my New Game Plus, which is the hard plus that I played through. But after I've done that, and I got a bit more time to slowly enjoy the world, whereas in the first playthrough I was going for the story. After that, I don't know if I'll play it again. No. At least not anytime soon. No way. But I would 100% recommend, because I played it through twice. That's like 50 hours of gameplay.
Yeah.
So if you want 50 hours of fun, go ahead.
Twice in like 2 weeks.
Yeah. My rating?
Yes.
I think... I'm
curious where this one sits for you.
I think... I'm torn between 5 and 4.
Okay. Where would the first one sit?
Probably a 5. But I think this is a 5 as well. Frankly, I loved it. I didn't stop playing it.
Yeah.
Apart from that one time when I got...
He gave it up for like 3 days when he realised that he fucked
up with Abby because I skipped the whole day section, as I said. So that pissed me off. But it turns out I was okay. And once I got back into it, it was perfectly fun. But you really have to accept that you're this character now.
Yeah.
Which they don't give you the indication that you do.
They don't.
I think I'll give it a 5.
Okay.
5, Naughty Dog.
Interesting.
You did bits, and I loved it.
I don't feel like I'm in a position to really rate it or recommend it because I haven't played it.
You can rate it on the aspects that you know.
So from the story perspective, I would rate it maybe a 3 or a 4.
3 or a 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I appreciate that it really tries to break out of the simplicity of most video game stories. Certainly the story in the first game was quite simple. Effective, but simple. But I would say that they didn't necessarily do it all that effectively at times. Yeah.
The beautiful guitar bits.
Yeah.
And then how depressing it is when you're Ellie at the end playing with your missing fingers. And
okay, yeah. But like, I wonder how much of my caring for Ellie is just built up in the first game, you know? I wonder how much of it is based on that, not on the great story of the second.
She's a bit of a dick in the second game.
Yeah, because she can be. And that's not bad, and they make it complex, and that's really good. But again, the way that they swap back and forth between Abby and Ellie in these huge chunks, it sort of distorts the story in a way, because
fully
you're not really sure who you're meant to be following or who you're meant to be empathizing with.
Yeah.
And that does break up the story a little bit.
Yeah.
I think downgrades it a little bit.
So what would you rate it?
3? No, 4. Probably 4.
This is an I haven't played it 4.
And I haven't played it 4. Yeah. Yeah.
I've only seen me play it.
So don't trust my rankings at all, guys.
So that gives it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Compared to Sword Arts, what did it get?
4.
4 out of 10. I think you've done quite well the last first 2.
I think so.
But that is everything we wanted to cover in this first episode. I really hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, and if you would be kind enough to do so, if you'd be kind enough to do so, you could hit like and subscribe if you want to.
Yeah.
And we shall see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.